Hello, my name is Gerry Smyth. Welcome to About Books. Today I'm going to be talking to David Walker. David's from Southport, originally from Liverpool, living now in Southport. In fact, today we're not going to be talking about a book so much, we're going to be talking about an album, a project which incorporates elements of music and poetry. It's called Madhead and it was released earlier this year. David, you're very welcome.
Hello, nice to be here.
Thanks for coming up to the big city all the way from Southport.
A long way, yes.
So, you've described this on your website as a project.
Yeah, very much
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I don't write a lot of poetry, but when I do, I tend to do it in blocks. And I'd started writing poetry for no apparent reason, inspired by my girlfriend, really, who a lot of the stuff's about. We'll probably go into that later. But I just started writing a load of poetry, and then I thought, well, I've had plays published in the past, and I thought, how am I going to get this published? Send it to my publisher and see what he thinks of it. But then I thought, who buys poetry books these days? You do a lot of e-publishing now, mostly. So I thought, well, maybe if I'm writing songs, which are what I'd started to do, maybe I could put like a DVD box with a book of poetry and a CD of music. Then I thought, hang on a minute, people might just open it up, chuck away the book and just listen to the music. So then I came across the idea of doing it on CD, of actually performing it. Then I thought, well, if I do it, it's about 19, 20 minutes long. People aren't going to want to listen to my voice for that length of time. So I went to form a little theatre where I've done some acting and I got some of the actors and actresses there to perform it. So that was the idea behind it. The whole project was designed really as a diary, a 3-year diary of my life with my girlfriend, who tragically died last year, just a year ago actually. But it's not a requiem; it's more of a celebration because it was all completed before she died.
Well, I want to come back to that in a moment,
Yeah.
just to kind of talk a little bit more about the format.
Yeah.
So you've got this beautifully produced package. One of the CDs is poetry.
Yes.
And it's performed by your friends from the form.
Yeah, I've done a
poetry
couple
group.
of them.
Yeah.
We've got ambient music behind some of them as well,
Okay.
just to sort of break it up a little bit.
And the other CD is music.
14 new songs.
14 new songs that you've written.
I've written them.
And they're performed by a band that you put together specifically for the project.
Yes, and I've never met them before. I was actually in a play at Form, a little theatre. And I just happened to mention to one of the girls who was in the play that I was looking for a band to do some work in the studio. And she said, I know people. I know 4 lads from Formby who are very good. So she gave me the number, I contacted them, and that's how we started recording together.
So that's the music and the poetry. And what about the painting and the kind of CD itself?
It's actually a picture of me. I don't know whether you can see it.
Yeah, I can see that.
See the eyes, yeah. It was just a photograph of me that somebody had taken. And I handed it to a girl called Lucy Norris, who's a graphic designer and artist, also from Formby Little Theatre. And she took it away, and she then sent me a text message with a picture similar to that, not exactly the same as that it developed into that. And I loved it. I loved the idea. I thought it was completely crazy, and I thought it suited the Madhead title quite well, with a head with also. I only noticed a couple of weeks ago actually the skulls coming out of it as well. I missed that the first time because I'm still finding things about it myself.
So it's a kind of fully integrated package of poetry,
Yeah.
music, design, and T-shirts and everything.
T-shirts, yes. I'm a walking billboard.
Now you mentioned the kind of content, the idea behind it, and you said it was about your girlfriend who kind of tragically died last year.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to kind of take it in this direction?
Well, I've always written songs and I've always written poetry. Like I said, I tend to write poetry in blocks. Songs just as and when they turn up, really, in my head. And it was actually Lisa's idea, because I was just writing these poems and I'd started writing the songs, and she said, you really should record these are good songs. You really should get in the studio and do something with them. Yeah. Because I've recorded before. So that was what inspired me to do it. I thought, well, yeah, okay. So I'd had all the poetry. I actually finished writing the poetry before I started writing the songs. There's a very definite sort of gateway there between the two. I've no idea why, but that's the way it's turned out. I mean, not all of the poems are observational and personal. They're not all about Lisa, as the songs aren't, but she inspired them.
Just as an aside, I'm quite kind of interested in the difference between poetry and song lyrics.
Right.
Kind of some people, well, there's lots of arguments, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think, can one be kind of adapted to the other, or is it a completely different?
There's a song on the album called Song in My Head, and the lyrics for it were written by a friend of mine called Beth Thornton. She's a poet. And I took one of her poems and turned it into a song, edited it, switched it round. And so yes, you can do that. In my case, really, I find that songs, music and lyrics together are the expression. But it's a little restricting in terms of poetry, because you've got to stick within the rhythmic format of the song. Whereas with poetry, you can pretty much go anywhere. Mm-hmm. I belong to a number of writing groups, and I listen to them talk. These really, really excellent and very experienced poets. And they're talking about the technical side of poetry. I know nothing about that. Absolutely nothing. I've no idea what I'm doing. I just do it.
Don't know your sonnet from your villanelle.
No, exactly. Haven't a clue. And I think it's better that way, because I found that with songwriting. I don't really know what I'm doing with songwriting. And when I find out, it doesn't really help.
So was this a kind of catharsis for you after the trauma of a kind of death in your life?
Well, like I said, the album isn't a requiem. The whole thing isn't a requiem. It's more of a celebration, because it was all completed while she was still alive. So it wasn't that. Maybe the recording of it was cathartic. Maybe it was a bit like that. But I was being interviewed by somebody recently who picked up on one of the poems. And can I just show you the opening line of it? Yep. It's actually quite funny, because he said to me, have you sought help? Which I thought was quite. And the line just says, "Death, where is thy sweet embrace? Through this opaque window creeps the creaking world, devoid of humanity, swamped with insanity, biting my soul. Bring on thy sweet embrace." And he thought I was suicidal. That was me sitting in an office, bored, witless, waiting for the clock to click round so I could go home. It was nothing to do with wanting to do myself in.
So no intervention.
No intervention required. No.
And what have you been doing to kind of publicise, advertise, perform the project?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've got a company called Boxed Off, Richard Klein and Paul Baker. And they have done a lot of publicity work for me and got a lot of airplay for me, a lot of interviews. So I'm going straight to a radio interview here. We did a launch the end of July, and I got the band together and we played live. We got together a duo that I'd worked with before in a band. So it was a night of original music, basically. They did original songs, and then we performed our stuff. So that's the only performance we've done live of it so far. So I'm waiting for some ideas. I've got lots of ideas about how to do it. It's a case of where to do it.
Are you performing on Bay TV?
Yes, yeah. It's on the, I can't remember the date, but it's the 15th. Is it the 15th? I think it's. Somebody's nodding at me. Yes, it's the 15th. We did it. We came into Bay TV and we did an acoustic set, which is quite difficult because they'd never done an acoustic set before, the lads. So we rehearsed it the night before. And of course, with a drummer, you can't bring a drum kit in for an acoustic set. So he sat on one of those beatbox things, and I'd love to have a go at one of those, but I'd fall off. I would.
And are you working on anything else at the moment?
Well, I'm working on a live show because of Madhead. There's a few things I want to do. I want to merge some ideas of so it's not just somebody going into wherever we're going to do it and listening to music or watching a show. I want to do dance with it. Really? Not me personally, believe me. You don't want to see that. I want to do dance, the poetry.
Yeah.
I can't be dragging half a dozen poets around with me or poetry performers around with me, so I would have them pre-recorded. One of the crazy ideas I've got, and I've spoken to a friend of mine who's a choreographer, and she says it's possible to do a dance routine to a poem. One of the poems that's actually rhythmic and rhyme, just the actual first poem on the album. Called I Wish, and it's got ambient music behind it, so it's possible to do a dance routine to it.
You hear of all sorts of kind of cross-media collaborations, but dance and poetry is not one that kind of strikes me as...
It doesn't, no. But the other thing I want to put in it is to have, at the front of the stage, somebody, probably Lucy, who did the cover, and on the screen at the back, on a computer linked up, she will draw that during the show. So by the end of the show, it's complete.
So this is a kind of fully integrated creative response to the world, to life, to being alive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
it's kind of so important, isn't it? I mean, one of the things that I suppose the show celebrates, and that we're always looking for ways throughout the city and throughout the region, is to find ways to allow people, to enable people to express themselves in a variety of media. You've obviously got a very kind of highly developed creative imagination.
It has a tendency to run away with itself as well. Sometimes I have to
problem.
Well, not for me. Some people that I'm working with sometimes will have to rein me in a little bit and say, hang on, one thing at a time. This is just going to go off the scale. So I do tend to think and speak almost at the same time when these ideas come to me. And it's the same with the poetry and with the songs. Not so much the music of the songs, certainly the lyrics. They just happen. They just appear in my head. And I do it. I've never been a follower of specific bands or specific performers or specific poets or writers. If I read or see or hear something that I like it. That's it. I don't care who does it.
Well, long may it continue. And I wish you all success with the album and the project and your future plans. And thanks very much for coming in, David Walker.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for watching About Books. We'll see you again soon.
I'm Mark, and I'm an artist at the Cartoon Academy. And the Cartoon Academy is a series of workshops that we hold here in Nantwich regularly, and they tend to run during the school holidays, probably ranging between drawing traditional cartoons, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, to superheroes as we have done today. Star Wars was last week, and we tend to base it around a theme, whatever's popular. Last year was the Minions and Frozen, the Disney film. And we like to work with the children and draw from the ground up. So rather than tracing and copying too much, we do like to try and show the children how to draw cartoons so that they can go off and create their own. Good stuff. Okay, so hello everybody, welcome to the Cartoon Workshop or the Cartoon Academy. Now my name is Mark. Now a lot of you have been before, haven't you?
No.
Put your hand up if you've been before. You've been loads of times. You've been before, I remember. Okay, so today we're going to look at superheroes, okay? And I can see by what some people are wearing that you are fans of superheroes. Certainly I can see it over there. What's this? This is Star Wars, isn't it? What have you got on here, Sunshine? Oh, Lego. Yeah, all right. So yeah, today we're going to look at superheroes. We're going to look at boy superheroes and we're going to look at girl superheroes. It's not just all about the boy characters, even though they are the most famous of all. The superhero characters have exciting faces and a lot of colour. Comic book artists, especially for superheroes, love to use colour. Now, I can show you this, and I'm just going to hold this up if I can. Alright, so you can see straight away, it is the event, so you can see straight away, look at the colour there in the Hulk. Obviously we all know the Hulk. Captain America, blue, is your Iron Man, cool character. I'm just going to flick through, and I can just land on a random page and find plenty of colour. Plenty of red, okay. I'll try again. Alright, trust me to pick the grey one, but look on the other side. Yeah. So, comic book characters, full of colour. Look at that. Nice bright colour for his suit. You wouldn't know it looking at modern day films where they just try and make everything black and grey and brown and miserable. Comic book characters traditionally have got lots of colour, and we're going to concentrate on that today. So I'm going to show you my way, or a good way I think, of drawing a comic book character's face. We're going to draw a few famous ones, like I say, boys and girls characters, and then I want you to invent your own. Now you've got to give them a name, and you've got to give them a superpower. What I want you to draw for me is that kind of a skull shape. Now I just sketched that, so I don't want harsh lines, just do the nice soft outline for me, because at the end of the day, it's the soft outline that you're going to draw around and draw over. Alright? We're going to start with the boy superhero. Plenty of paper, so if you don't like what you've drawn, don't bother trying to rub it out, just get another sheet. Try not to draw your head too near to the top of the paper because this character is Batman and he's got big ears. Alright, caught a few out. Okay, so where you think a nose would go? Alright? Cool. And then, what you want to do is angle up from round about here. If you look on the screen, you can see round about where the jaw starts to come in. You can draw something that comes up like that and goes over the nose. Okay? Yeah, exactly like that. So, if you imagine is there not one on the end of the pencil? Draw yourself a straight line and then just angle down the sides. Really simple. People think drawing mouths is tough. It's not. It's simple. Quite effective for Batman's mouth. It'll do for now. Okay. We're going to do the ears. Okay. So to do the ears, imagine, if you watch on the screen, imagine that you're going up the side of the head like that, and then you're just carrying on straight. Not like that, that's Batgirl. Batman, there you go, straight up, like this. Okay, so you're going up, up, stop, and then just do like a triangular sort of thing like that. Pretty hard, straight up the side of the head. Alright, don't curl on because I'm curling. That's what curl looks like.
There's no like straight edge though, just like a circle.
Improvise. Yeah, cool. I can see some cool Batman. Right. His eyes are angled down. Look how you do that with your eyes. I'm going to try again, alright? If I was to draw that same eye as I drew before, which was pretty much a circle, very looks rubbish, right?
No, we don't really good.
Thing. But if I was to change that part and do that, well, he's halfway there, isn't he? Because he has to have that downwards angle thing going on. That makes him look really angry. Now the other thing that comic book artists love to do is draw the eyes just a little bit closer together. So what you can do is almost create this kind of area over the top of the nose, but also angle up.
Yeah.
Okay? We're not using circles here for the eyes. Now the other thing you can do, even though he's wearing like a, I don't know, rubber head thing, whatever, mask, you could, if you pick out the brow of his eye, over his eye, it helps to emphasise it a little bit. So you can draw that. So what you're drawing basically is that sort of a shape. Alright? In fact, no you're not. What you're drawing, first things first, is that sort of a shape, and then you want to draw that kind of thing going on underneath it. Alright? So do your angry eyes. Do your angry eyes. Now, whereabouts on the head do you draw that? Well, if you look, I'm just above halfway down the head. The eyes don't meet in the middle, but they're close. Don't make them meet in the middle. Imagine a thumb width the nose, and then just draw. Don't start one off for you. Don't start it off for you. You can carry on. All right. Here we go. Okay. So this is really good so far, though. This is really good. So what you're doing here is an angry eye. Move on and look at something else. I want to see some wonderful, colourful superheroes. Oh, Batman. If you want to use colour, use colour.
What was last name Heath?
There was one, it's just gone out there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we are on TV. No, I don't want to.
Don't forget, he's got that black strip under his.
How? It's a how.
The one thing that I'm really proud of with the Cartoon Academy is that it encourages reluctant artists in every age group. But the thing that I'm most proud of is that it allows children of all abilities, and perhaps more importantly children with special needs, particularly Asperger's for example, or anything on the autism spectrum. Children with those problems, if you like, have found that learning to draw like this has given them a new form of expression. And I hold private classes with children with autism and Asperger's. Hugely rewarding, because these children always surprise me, and they find that this new expression, the ability to actually get those feelings out with art and with character and with drawing, gives them a new sort of sense of freedom, if you like. So although the Cartoon Academy works with children to draw and learn drawing techniques such that they can create their own comic books and cartoon characters, it also serves the purpose of allowing children with different needs to express themselves, and that's something I'm particularly proud of.